What is up, guys? This is Har with Har's Corner. Today's mod review, we're going to go over Eco's Stables and Structures mod. This is a cool decor additional structures mod that has a lot going on. We're going to take our time and kind of go over every little niche, but there's some cool Wild West things, so we're going to get into it. I have stuff all over the place over here, and that's really because there's a lot of stuff to go over. All right, so let's start on the far end and kind of work our way back to that point. I think it's going to be a little bit easier. So this mod is just a structures mod. You're going to get a lot of different structures, a lot of cool materials to mess around with. You're using primarily wood, thatch, stone to make a lot of this stuff. You might need some crystal to make some of the glass structures, but anywho. One of the main things you're going to need is this guy right here. And this is actually the crafting bench. Now, Eco, with every mod, at least the building mods, always have some sort of structure that you're going to make on your person to in turn craft all the other stuff out of it. And that's this guy right here. That's the crafting table for it. So it looks like a little saddle on a stand here. It's pretty neat. All right, so we're going to get started with the kind of just the general gates that you're going to see. And there's three different types. This is your behemoth gate here. This is your, this big dude. Now, I don't think there's a way to... Yeah, that's the only part I don't like, is it doesn't seem to be a way for this to auto open and close. But you can change the style of it to a brick style instead of just the wood style if you want. And you can also, paint it and remove the paint off of it as well. This is your regular size dino gate, your regular, 2 wide, 4 tall. But they also have these doubles over here that I really like that are just 2x2, and I think they're really neat. I have 2 of them here because there's 2 different doors. You have this like big open door look to it, and then you have that closed door as well. And that's about it for your gates. This is kind of like the smaller end. We also have these the wooden gates and wooden fences that snap to fence foundations, so you can make little fences around your base too. This monstrosity is a hodgepodge of crap that we're going to talk about. So underneath, let's start at the bottom. So these are the foundation floors. This is just one foundation. These stilts stick out really far, so this is really good for building on uneven terrain. If you start at the high point, you can come way out with these guys. They'll stick out like 5-6 foundations, like standard foundations deep with these stilts. But you can also hide these if you want to. You can hide the supports. I think I picked up the wrong one. Yep, there it goes. Yeah, see, it'll stop right there. Won't show anything past that. And you can always go back and toggle it back. And those are the standard foundations. They have triangle foundations that are angled as well, and we'll talk about them. But here are your stairs and ramps. So they do it like a 1-story ramp and stairs, and then they do a 2-story for you, which is nice if you're doing double high, which is pretty common. You're do at least two walls high. You already have the ramps and the stairs. That's 2 by length. And bounce up here. This section that we're looking at right about here is most of your generic wall sections, doorways for the regular foundations to clip to. Starting from here, these are double door frames with a couple different types of doors in. So you have a glass door, you have the window door, and then the solid door. Same with the normal single doors, glass, window, solid door. They also have the saloon doors. Now these do seem to auto open and close for you. You can pop in and out of these pretty easily. I do like those. The rest of them, though, it looks like you got to auto open and close them yourself. You have the window with the window wall with the window in it. Then you also have this little this little like arrow-shaped window as well. They call it a stable window, but it looks a little different. I kind of like that too. That's your standard stable wall and your glass wall. And this is actually a 2-piece deal, right? So I'm gonna wrap around the corner just for a second here. These are bottom halves, and there's a couple different styles to them, and you'll notice these styles kind of replicate all around all the building. But this is like what the metal part looks like, how it's that metal pipes going across the top, or more like a screen, I guess. And this is like the rope, and around here is the stable wall. Now with the regular one, you also have a top piece too. So basically, what I'm looking at right here is one section, and then come down. This is another section. So this is one thing built on top of another, so you can actually have a full stable wall to kind of match the double wall gate over there. Up here, this is like an archway with like a glass finish to it in the center, and that's your your slope, your inverted. They have regular sloped, and then you have the inverted slope. You also have like the the rafter looking support inverted as well. Yeah, okay, so going around, we're going to talk about these foundations, and this can get a little bit of tricky with building some of this stuff, so you really want to pay attention to it. These foundations are angled foundations. You want to pay attention to these. These are all lefts, because they're all, you know, going that way. But it's important to know what you're building and where you're placing it. So pretty much all of these structures have a angled version of them, and the thing is, it's because this part of the triangle of the foundation that I'm looking at is considerably longer than a normal size foundation, right? So this is like a double door on the angled side, and this is a double door on a regular side. So it's really, really longer. So pay attention when you're crafting and building this stuff that you're going about it the right way. And you can pick all this stuff up too. It has an able pickup on it too. But that's your double door frame, and you'll be able to put those same doors, the angled doors in there, and this is the single door frame. And again, you'll be able to put the same doors. It's just if it's on, you know, like an angle like that instead of flat. And these pieces should look familiar. We just talked about those, the stable pieces. And again, this is a two-piece deal. You have the bottom half and the top half, and that's your metal. Your windows, your slope walls, these archways, these kind of got added in here, so you can put these in. You can attach these to some of the frames that we're going to look at. You can place these in some of the frames that we're going to talk about, and then also like on top of walls. And I just kind of placed them here just because I'm trying to fit everything in here. But this is a normal little archway here, and that's a double archway up top. But that's about it there. But again, you want to pay attention to these foundations, whether you're building the angled right or the angled left. So be careful, take some time. Don't rush into building with this if you're not familiar with Eco's mods. Railings, you have the rope railing, the stable railing, and the wooden railing. That wooden fence works kind of just like that wooden gate over there I talked about. This is another little interesting little guy. These are little hay beddings that you can just place down on the ground. They will always try to level themselves off. And you can raise them once you do that. If you place them on the ground, they're always going to try to seek level, so they'll like clip into the ground a lot of times, unless they're on like a perfectly flat surface. But don't worry about that, because once you place it, you have the option to raise or lower them on top of that. And it just gives you a little cool little, you know, especially if you're actually building a legit stable, it gives you a little a hay floor look to it. Go over here, we got some archways. Let's talk about the archways. And these just aren't the angled versions, but the same archways I talked about earlier, the double wides and the single wide. And then you have these stable frames as well. So this frame, not the little door down here, but the frame itself, you have a single and then you have a double, and you can put those in there as well. Now these railings, and I put these stable frames up again because these railings will clip into here as well, and they're just a regular. They just pop open like that. Apparently I picked up wood somewhere on the ground over there. Anyway, that's pretty much it for most of your walls, but we're going to go over here and finish it up. You have bigger options for the stable frames. You have the bigger one, the medium one, and the smaller one, and these are all on angled platforms. You have an angled gate, angled railings, and again, when I say angled, it means that they're meant to clip to the edge, the long edge of these foundations. Again, if you look at this foundation right here, the edge that's closest to me is considerably longer than that of any of the other ones, and that's why. So if you're building angled foundations, you want to make sure you make the angled walls that clip onto them, or it's going to be a giant mess and you're going to drive yourself a little nuts. While we're in here, this is actually one of the light sources. This is the one that hangs on the ceiling. Pretty neat, I like that. They don't seem to give off, the light sources in here, there's two, technically three, but they don't give off a lot of light. I think you'll find you're going to be using maybe some wall torches or even standing torches to compensate. The other option is just to make a crap ton of them, really. I think they're more for more like an accent lighting than like a primary lighting, but either way, they look awesome and they work really well, and you don't have to put fuel in them, they just work. So that's always a plus. The roof pieces, there is a lot of roof pieces, but we'll go over the ceiling real quick. So these are the normal square wood ceilings, you know, and then again, you have the angled sides of it. So you can't think like normal vanilla arc where you just have triangle ceilings, triangle foundations. No, there's an angled left and an angled right. So you got to pay attention to that when you're building stuff. These weather vanes you can put on top of your roof. I just kind of put them on here just so we can see them. One looks like the Equus and the other one looks like the Raptor. They look cool, I like them. Going around to the actual roof pieces again. These go on, you have the angled roof pieces because they're wider. They're meant to clip on the angled walls. And then you have the normal roof pieces that are made to go on the normal ones. But this is actually all one piece. This left corner is all one piece right here. This is just your flat ceiling. That's your slope ceiling. That's like your corner. And this is all one piece too. They're meant to go in the corners. And this is kind of like an inverted, instead of the outside, it's supposed to go in, like the inside corner, depending on what you're doing. A lot of different options with the roof pieces. I was kind of, this might be my only other critique with this mod, is at least I didn't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please correct me, anybody watching this, but I don't see an option for any sort of wooden version to this. Like, it's all metal. And I don't have the option to change any of it. So, again, maybe I'm completely missing something here, but I didn't see it. I looked around for a little while, and we're playing on a PvE server with this mod right now, and I didn't see it. It was kind of strange. I was really looking for like a normal kind of a wooden thing that would match the same style. Not that it doesn't match, it looks good with it, but I would have liked to see like an actual like wood, or maybe even like a thatch ceiling or something like that would have been neat. But that's really, you know, again, I try to find something to pick out with a lot of these mods that we go through, and I feel like a lot of times I'm nitpicking because all in all they're awesome mods, and yeah, not a whole lot to complain about here. Anyway, that's your basic building structures. And again, a lot of this stuff is going to be thatch, wood, and stone to make. You're not going to need heavy resources to make a lot of these guys. I believe that they're treated like adobe structures. We're using this on Scorched Earth right now. And if we get hit with a superheat and I have a building like this and walk inside of it, the superheat goes away. I mean, obviously inside because of sandstorms, you know, anything inside will help you there. But specifically with the superheat, I noticed that it seems to cure it. We don't get hot in the building, so I think it might have some sort of insulation comparable, if not exactly, to what the adobe structures are on regular Arc. Going over, we can talk about the pillars real quick. So these are both pillars. The only difference is this little topper, that little pillar top. It's just meant to, it's just a cosmetic just end to it basically. And I noticed that if I used normal SE ceilings, and I'll actually show you real quick, and I think that's, you want to pay attention when you're building these, and if it looks weird, that's why. Like, this is exactly what happened to me. I was making a greenhouse, and so if I drop a ceiling right here, there's a gap, you know what I mean? And it's there specifically because I think this was designed to have a pillar cap on it. So once you're done getting the pillars to the height you want to, and you want to put a ceiling on it, put the cap on there. But yeah, that's pretty much how that works. Yeah, I think we touched on everything over there. So going over to some of the like the storage style things. These saddles, these are awesome. They're wall mounted saddles, and they're a bunch of different kinds, and they'll look familiar to you. Like this is for the toad saddle, the thorn dragon saddle, the moth saddle. I'm not sure, that just says small tack. I'm not entirely certain, and that says large tack. So I don't know exactly which saddle they're supposed to be. But that's your Doed saddle as well. But they're really cool. They look really nice. I like them. But more importantly, they're all storage. You pin them you drop them to the wall, and they all have, you know, like a 50 slot inventory. I think the big one has more. Oh no, they all have 50. Nice little solution for storage, and you're not losing floor space. You know, so for a lot of the weapons, armor, things like that maybe you're not mass storing, I think these are perfect for that. Plus, they look awesome, and you can pretty much hang them anywhere there's a wall. So you're not going to run out of space. Normal storage containers here, you have the small storage crate, that's a 50, and then you have the medium storage crate, which is 75. These three are all storage crates. They just look differently, right? So you have your large storage rack that does 100, you have the large storage crate that does 100, and then you have the large tool rack that does 100. All of these seem to be the same to me. I don't think there's any difference. I think it's literally just the decoration of them. I think they just look different, which I really like, because I don't walk into my house and it's like 97,000 of the same storage container lined up. Like, you can divvy things up and change the look of them. I really like that. And you combine that with normal Arc storage containers, and you end up with something very a bit more realistic. Coming over here, these are your options for your beds. You have your single bed and you have your double bed. Well, I guess king. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. It is a king. It's a king bed. You have a chair over here, and this is your feeding trough. Yep. This is your feeding trough. Now, this has the standard range that the normal feeding trough does. So if you're running S+, and we always try to talk about S+, the S+ feeding trough has a significantly larger range. So pay attention to that, because this has the same ranges. It seems to have the same range as a normal feeding trough. Your hay bale is just another storage, which I really like, because again, it's different, you know. I can have it outside. The stuff that I store outside, like fertilizer, it's great for just storing fertilizer in, just because it looks cool and it looks different. It's not the same box over and over and over again. I really like that. This, the hay bale and the feeding trough in combination with, the hay flooring over here, you can do some cool stuff. But that's like pretty much some of your furniture. We're going to talk about the rest of it. So over here, in this general area is more of a decoration furniture sort of, and we're finishing up on the furniture side while we're over here. This is your other light source. Actually, this is your little wall lamp, and again, they don't put off a lot of light. I think I think the intention was more of an accent lighting, but I think with enough of them, I think it would look good. You have some ribbons here. I guess again, this is kind of focused around stables and obviously kind of like a horse racing and things like that. You have some ribbons and trophies actually. So you have like a gold, silver, bronze trophies, and then you have the ribbons first, second place, and then first, second, third place. But then you also have the you tried one. The you showed up one. Here's a little wall sign. You can change it. You can change the text of this, and it'll just be in that plain white text. This is another, and this is all one piece too. This is all one big sign with the light already on it, which is why I said there was technically 3 light sources. This one's neat because you end up with they're a lot bigger font. You're limited as to how many letters you can put in here, but what we did on ours is we actually just took a couple of these and clipped them right next to each other, like lined them up, and that way just split the words out. So I like that it's a different font, and it looks like, kind of like what you would expect to see in the front of like an old saloon. What the trophies over here were sitting on is the rustic large table and the rustic table over here. And these are also 2 barrels that work for storage as well. You have a painted storage barrel and a regular storage barrel. But again, they work as storage too, which I like. I like having all these little things to be storage options because you can change it up and you're not seeing the same thing over and over again. And this is a pretty common trait from what I've seen with Eco's mods. Everything's very unique. You're not going to see the same thing over and over and over and over again. The pathways, these are interesting. I like these. I was messing around with them on our server, and they're fun. They're fun. So these are actually individual pieces. So like this piece here is one piece, and then like this corner piece that has the rope around it is one piece. This is one piece, and this again is one piece. There's a couple different options here, and then you have the stairs that have the ropes on them here. But it creates little pathways, and these clip to your inside your structures on foundation, so you can make these little walkways in your stable. And then you can also, if you want to close this in, you can come back with that rope hand railing that I showed you earlier, and it'll clip right to the side of these guys, so you can make it all rope hand railing going all the way around. I like it. I think it has a lot of different purposes other than just the stable too. I think this looks cool for like a dock maybe, or maybe up in a tree house. The cliff platforms as well. I think it would work really cool with that. But yeah, pathways, they all stick to each other, and they'll, like I said, they'll clip to foundations too, so you can have a lot of fun. The windmill. So this is a 2-part gig. So the water vane is something that you place on the ground ahead of time, and you can actually build this on your person, but it is just a water vane. It's not like water vane like scorched earth water vane where you're gonna be able to like put a well down on top of it and drink water out of it. You can drink water out of it, but you need to put this windmill down on it first, and then you have the option to drink water from it. And you can access its inventory and actually fill up your canteens and stuff from it too. So an immediate water source, it's not, and I like that because I don't want to be able to like place this down wherever I want, irrigate whatever I want. Like I like the idea of being able to get to a water source, but it was smart idea, and it kept it balanced, I think. These are just a couple of the jumps. There's a bunch of different types of jumps if you're trying to make like a horse track. These are just a couple of the cool ones that I liked, but there's plenty more inside the building options. You think there's there's 10 different versions, but there's plenty of different versions of these jumps. And again, you can pick all these guys up and move them around for the horse jumps. You have a little podium over here, so you can do your first, second, third place on here. If you have some horse races going on, you can do that. And yeah, that about sums it up. There's a lot of structures in here, I mean, I'm just building one of each one of these different wall sections. You could build like a Wild West town if you wanted to, or just a giant horse track. That would be really interesting to see, like a giant Equus horse track, like oh man, like a Pimlico thing. I think that'd be hilarious. So cool. Once again, Eco knocks it out of the park. Like always, I don't expect anything less. When I see Eco tagged in front of a mod, I know it's going to be fun. And we had just moved our PvE server over to Scorched Earth, and I knew that I wanted to use this immediately when I saw it. It's a beautiful mod. It works very well. I have no problems with it so far. No problems whatsoever. It's smooth. It's clean. It's what you would expect from Eco all the time. Beautiful. Love it. Like I said, my literal 2 gripes would be that the auto open and close doesn't work on anything but the saloon doors. And I would have liked to see, unless I'm wrong. Now, like I said, I very well could be wrong, but I would have liked to see a different roof option other than just metal. But man, gorgeous, beautiful mod, and it's so fun. Like I said, we're using it right now on our Scorched Earth server, and we're having a lot of fun with it. But yeah, that's it. Eco's Stables. So we're going to put a link to the mod in the description so you guys can check it out if you want to. If you're interested in joining a server that's running it, hey, join my Discord, shoot me a message, we'll hook you up. But that's pretty much it. We're going to wrap this up. If you like what you saw, please throw me a like, throw me a subscribe, shoot me a comment. Feel free to hit us up on Twitch because we do Twitch streaming Fridays and Saturdays as well from that same server. And you can hop on in and play around with us. That's it, guys. That's it. So we're done with this mod review. I'm not sure. I have an idea what we're going to do next. But again, if there's a mod that you really love that we haven't done yet, or one that you want to see a review done on, please shoot something in the comments and I will absolutely jump on it. We have a couple still that we're using on our server right now that I haven't done anything with that I want to do. But yeah, I'm always looking for my ideas from the community. So anything you guys have to throw our way, I would gladly appreciate it. But that's about all we got, and until next time, guys.